Hello, hello, this is Paper Cuts Included coming to you live from the Ninja Turtle sleeping blanket, and that's how you know it's legit. If you just watched our previous video, this is a continuation of my pickups. I got enough pickups to split into 4 groups, so I'm making 4 videos from them, plus a bonus video this week. So each day during the week it's 5 videos, and then you can reflect on all the information and crude humor you're going to get for the weekend. So here we go. This one's gonna maybe be a little bit of a longer video than the previous one. I got 3 series, so let's get into it with the one we're probably gonna talk about least. That being John Byrne's Next Men. I found issue 2, issue 4, issue 5, and John Byrne's Next Men's one of those things I don't really know much about, other than one of the random issues is Hellboy's first ever appearance, and he's on the cover. So I don't know what Next Men's about, but not a whole lot of men on these covers, so who knows. This is now I have 4 issues of Next Men because I have the Miller cover. So like in my previous one, talking about Nexus, I'm also going to try to keep an eye out for these and pick them up when I can for cheap. See if I can get a pretty good run of them, read them, besides that Magnola one, or the Magnola Hellboy cover, because that's probably going to be a very, very, very expensive book. Yeah, let's open up number 2 and see what it's like, because I can't tell you what that other one looks like. I have a feeling it's a black and white comic. It's from Dark Horse Comics, which is probably my favorite publisher, especially this era of Dark Horse. So let's get to it. And make sure that camera ride's good. Yep. But yeah, oh no, it's in color. Okay, it's in color. But no, I can't tell you what the story is. I can't tell you what the characters' names are. Nothing. But I'm hoping to change that. Hoping to get a couple issues or more issues of this. Maybe the first 10. See what it's about. I love this little Next Men stock advertisement. That's pretty cool. I wish comics would do more of that. But we're gonna flip through it real quick, because I don't want to, I don't want to say waste time, but I don't want to eat up some people's times for a book I know nothing about. Let me get a little educated about it first before I talk about it. I got all these pickups today. That's the reason I haven't really looked into them that much today. But if Next Men's your favorite, that's a dope page. If Next Men's your favorite book of all time, let me know in the comments. Let me know what I'm missing. Yeah, there's John Byrne's Next Men. Gives me like Gen 13 vibes, but who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong with that. What's the back cover? Let's see what the back covers are, because this is Dark Horse. I wonder if there's a cool Magnolia, or I guess Hellboy wasn't a thing yet. Oh, we got Nexus. Speaking of Nexus, a while ago, Nexus seems cool. I need to get more into Nexus. Reminds me of Miracle Man. Alan Moore's Miracle Man, not DC's. And then Grendel, another thing I know nothing about. Isn't he like an assassin, or is it a he or a she, or they? Grendel lives, deadlier than ever. I don't know. Who does the artwork for that? Paintings by Simon Bisley. Yeah, you can see that's a Bisley piece right there. That's an artist we haven't really talked a whole lot on the channel yet. Great artist. Not my cup of tea usually, although I have quite a bit of his works. I have some of his Judge Dredd's and some of his Lobos, which I need to probably bust Lobo issue 1 out and look at one day. That'd be a cool video. But yeah, let's flip them back over. Flip them over. John Byrne's Next Men. Like I said, let me know if this is your favorite book of all time, and let me know what it's about. Well, let's get these. A series that is near and dear to my heart, or I guess a sequel to a series that's near and dear to my heart, is Martha Washington Goes to War, which the series that's near and dear is just Martha Washington, or is it Give Me Liberty, or Martha Washington Give Me Liberty? Is that what it's called? But I love it. It's Frank Miller, Dave Gibbons. This series, I've read the first and half of the second right before I started filming this. Not as good as the first series. I believe this is volume 2. There's not a really great way of, they don't tell you, but some of the events seem right after the events of the first book. I need to fact check that. But some off the bat complaints. I think these books are shorter than the first volume. These are standard comic size, whereas the other ones I feel like are closer to 40 pages. And one of my complaints is, and Give Me Liberty, it has a lot of really good world building. Like, you get to see the world of Martha Washington lives in. This one's like a straightforward action comic so far, with some of that world building like parts, but not like the first volume, which we will definitely do a video on, and we'll probably do an episode on the growth of, or the differences between that and this in Dave Gibbons' art, because I feel like the coloring was a lot better in that first volume too, whereas this one's modern and gross, where the first one sent like it was hand colored. So we'll definitely look at that. Let's start. If you don't know, this is like your kind of cyberpunky book where it's like you can see here. This book's about PAX, which is the Peace Auxiliary Force, I believe, which Martha Washington's a part of, trying to take back Texas, which secedes. Okay, so Angus McKee is the colorist. So let me see what the colors in the first one was, and I'll probably make a community post about that. Or if you know it off the top of your head, comment down below. But no, this has to be volume 2, because the first volume ends in 2012, because this was written in the 90s. Did it say 94? So what? 20? They're thinking 20 years in the future, and it's they're trying to fight in Texas against the Fat Boy fast food chain corporation, because beef is illegal. They have because the world's gone to crap in global warming. So like I said, I don't think that's as good as the first one yet. Like, I've only read this one and half of the second one, and it's got 5 issues, so maybe it gets really good. Seems like they're losing parts of the world building in favor of full-on action, which maybe that's the point. Like, your first volume, you set up the rules, you set up the world, and then every other one you can just go straight into your story, which I'm sure some people like, but I really like the world that they created. It reminds me of one of my favorite comics of all time, Hard Boiled, by Frank Miller also, and Jeff Darrow. So I want to see more of it, and I feel like when they do just this action kind of style, it really limits them and just makes it uninteresting, because you're just like, oh, military, oh, G.I. Joe, is what it might kind of translate to. Whereas, I want to talk about more of what's happening in the world, because so far they've really only talked about America in this alternate timeline. But we'll definitely do probably quite a few episodes on this IP, except, because I really like it. I think it's really under talked about. Like, I found my first copy in a random 50-cent bin when I was on my Miller kick, which I still am. But I had no idea I didn't know I'd like it as much. And I only have the first 2 issues of the first volume. I had to read it digitally. So I might do some book reviews coming up on that, because I really like it. I think everyone should read it. It's really good, the first volume. We'll see how the second volume turns out. I believe there's 4 or 5 volumes. There's this one there. So I think the first one's Give Me Liberty. Or maybe that's just the title of the first issue. Maybe it's just Martha Washington. This one's Martha Washington Goes to War. Then it's, I think, Happy Birthday, Martha Washington. Then I think the next one's Life and Times of Martha Washington. And then The Death of Martha Washington. You're not forgetting what her name is through all this. But I've been wanting to show you what these 2 ads are in the back. Look at that. 2 of my favorite artists. Mignola on Hellboy. I wonder if that's the trade, or if that's Because what issue of Seed of Destruction is it? That's issue 3. So no, it's probably the issue, which I don't have. I don't have much of Seed of Destruction except the first one. I actually don't. I have a lot of Hellboy, but I don't have a lot of Hellboy. I have a lot of newer Hellboy, but I don't have a lot of this older original stuff. Other than Conqueror Worm, that was the first Hellboy story I ever read. So I have all 4 of those. And then my Uncle Miller, the Duke Miller as I called him in videos, Dame to Kill For, which I think that's a single issue too, right before May 3rd. What if we make May 3rd Miller Day, and then May 4th, as it is Star Wars Day? But no, now I feel like I gotta buy another one of these. Take these 2 pages out, frame them, because it's pretty dope. What's the back cover? Back cover. Oh, John Byrne's X-Men. We were just talking about that. What's more fun than John Byrne working at Marvel Comics? Byrne doing all the stuff Marvel wouldn't let him do. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about John Byrne. I know he's a great artist. They call him the Byrne victim for nothing. But I need to read probably next month before I give pretty big judgments like this. Granted, I've only read the book and a half of this series, but it's not like, I'd say the first volume's a solid 8 out of 10, and this one 5 or 6 out of 10. It's really not hitting me that well, but it could change. I'll let you know. Maybe I'll make some community posts the more I read, telling you how I feel about it. But it's a trip. I think you should still read it. If you really like Martha Washington and that character, read it. Although the first volume has a really great ending. So, if you're like me and sometimes you don't want to ruin, like I stopped reading Fables when they beat Geppetto, because I didn't want to see my characters go through worse. So you might have to do that with this, but give it a shot still. Still buy it if you find it. Like, these are $1 books, probably even 50 cents at some places, but I feel like 50-cent bins are kind of dying out. Buy them, support your local bookshops, keep them in business. I've watched 2 bookstores in my area go under that I used to go to all the time. Shout out to Retrograde and Misty. Thanks for all the books I got. That's where I actually got my first Martha Washington. So, ever watch this? Thank you. But yeah, no, let's talk about the the book we're probably going to talk about for the most, and probably do a more in-depth look at it than I did of the other 2. That being The Walking Dead #1. It's not a first print. Man, I wouldn't be touching it if it was a first print. It's an image first, and I got it for $1 at the comic book store that I went to. A lot of these, like every other book I looked at in this video, I got a game exchange for $1. But this, I went to a local comic book store. Or I guess it's not local. I drive like 40 minutes. But I wanted to talk about it because I really like Tony Moore as an artist. I don't know if I'd label him a cartoonist more so than others, but he has a lot of cartoonist elements that you can really study if you want to be more like that. And I tried to redraw this cover when I was probably 7 or 8 when the show came out, and I would love to see how bad it looks. But yeah, I also, another funny story is, before I knew what reprints were, I found, not this, but an actual reprint of the #1 at my local comic book store, and I thought I found a $1,000 book for $4. I was so mad because my parents wouldn't let me buy it because it was rated M for mature. And I was like, you're making me miss a $1,000 book and we could buy it. Which I was a good kid. I didn't tell them that in the store, but on the way home I was just like, all I got were these Jurassic Park books. I really could have got a $1,000 book. Now I know that wasn't over it. Also, it was right after I watched an episode of Comic Book Men, which had The Walking Dead #1 on it. So it was for sure not a first print. Not knock on wood. That would have been bad. But let's open up. Let's look at the artwork. So Tony Moore, I believe, did the first 6 6 to 10 issues of The Walking Dead, and then he quit, or kicked off, didn't want to do it anymore, or not, he wanted to do it. He just couldn't keep up with the work schedule, and then he continued to do the covers up until issue 25. That's the first issue where he doesn't. And I prefer Tony Moore's art over the other guy who takes over. I don't know, the other guy just, I feel like makes it way too serious, which, yeah, I get it, it's probably supposed to be in Kirkman's mind, but I like this like cartoony style a lot more. To me, it has a lot more soul and more fluid than the other guy who's serious and stiff. And let's look at the composition / panels. Yeah, this is probably turning into a let's review Walking Dead #1, which I think I'm fine. A lot of people will be fine with that. But no, like the panel work, it's pretty interesting. There's not some like, concrete stiff borders. Like he could have made these 4 panels straight line up, but he didn't. He edged it just a little bit. And I think that's a really cool tool. You don't really notice it, but I think subconsciously you do, and it makes it more fluid looking and more organic. Yeah, he makes this one big panel open, which I like. I think you need to study compositions if you want to be an artist, because you might think this page is easy to do, but my God, is it hard once you try. Like, you're going to be hitting yourself in the head. And that's a good way to do a splash page. Sometimes splash pages are hard to figure out, but yeah, get shot. Well, what happens? Does he bleed out? Does he die? Flip the page, normie, and oh, he's there. Another good way to do, like, see, he lines up these panels here, which makes sense, because he's in a hospital, it's sterile, which I'm sure wasn't the intention, but to me, as a, someone who studied art, not only comic book art, but, like, fine art, my favorite era being the Baroque period, so got me some Caravaggio influence sometimes. But no, to me, he's in a hospital, it's sterile, it's precise, it wouldn't be, slanted like this first page would. No, we got that. Yeah, no, we're still going solid. What is it? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So similar panel count each pages. Some artists like Darwin Cook on New Frontier, did he do 6 panels every page for that? And that some he did. So I was wondering if he did that. But really good, I feel like, artwork in a hospital. It's not some battlefield like in Martha Washington Goes to War. It's a hospital. Everyone knows what a hospital looks like. Don't break the bank trying to reinvent it, And I think he does really good. Look, there's our first walker. Canonically, our first walker in The Walking Dead comic. Where was that in the show? But no, I really like Tony Moore a lot. He did Fear Agent, I believe, which I like a lot. I've only read it digitally, and I own one issue of one of the spin-offs, and that's something I'd like to have more of. But no, I think he's a great artist. I wish he was able to stick around this series a lot more. Look at that splash page. It's probably the best page of this issue. I wonder if he went to a hospital and took photos. Can you take photos in a hospital? I don't know. That seems like a legal thing. But no, he's great at showing emotion, even though when I was rereading this, Rick really looks like the main character in Fear Agent. If you haven't read Fear Agent or know what I'm talking about, look up Fear Agent, and he looks pretty similar. I need to reread Fear Agent. We need to do a video on Fear Agent. Knock on wood. I need to find Fear Agent then. It's pretty much Dale Gribble in space as an exterminator. But who does the lettering? Does he do the lettering? Or does someone else do his lettering? Art, gray tones, gray. Oh, Robert Kirkman does the lettering. Okay. I didn't know Kirkman did anything besides write it. Well, Kirkman's a good letterer. For, not... Well, I think he tried to do comics, right? But he couldn't... I think, what, the story went, he got surpassed by more, and so they joint. I don't know. I don't like that snap, though. I don't know why, but that unsettles me. But no, great, fluid. It reads really well. No, that I can't say enough how much that's a great splash page. And then we're going, still great reading. I know I just said he was a great letterer, but like that again, I don't really like that. Did they do color classics of these, like how they did the turtles? I hope not, because Moore's artwork in black and white looks really good. But no, like good reading. Then we get outside in a good way. He showed us himself outside. He didn't tell us. Or I guess, or is it the other way around? He told us he was outside. He didn't tell us. We didn't have like a page of him walking out. Like, we got enough of the hospital. He didn't overdo it, and we're outside. Where he sees more of it, and I really like this panel or this page layout where it's above ground and then you get dark, because if you've read this, you know what he's about to see. You're about to see the walker that really tears him up inside, which I think is the most deteriorated one he's seen so far. More probably breaking out as Mr. Bones and studying that to figure out how to draw this unfortunate lady. But no, we get that, and then we get another really good 9-panel page. No, he's really good at showing subtle movements, I believe, like walking, despair, subtle movements, not close-ups, but further away. Like, study that and learn how to do that, because that's an effective way if you want to be a good artist of doing this kind of stuff. Don't have everything close-ups, and don't have everything far away shots. Have these semi-close-up, semi-far, and they don't have to be super detailed either. Like, look, like, yes, it's detailed, but it's almost like gesture drawings in a way. Like, look at that grass. Not every blade of grass is detailed. If it was, you would lose Rick in it, and it wouldn't read good as a panel. Whereas when Rick's not in the grass, you get more detail. That's a art thing you do. You don't take away focus from your focal point, which is Rick in in this page. Rick's right there, so you can put more detail into the grass. And then that's a good page too. All those houses, that's showing the debris. He really sells an apocalypse world where there's nothing. Also, why, not to question, but why didn't Rick just have the group come back here? Like, it doesn't seem like there's that many walkers in the book. I know in the show it's overrun, but in the book it doesn't seem like that many. And the hospital still had power because he takes an elevator. So why didn't they just come back here instead of keep going further down the road? But no, another great panel where he's not even showing like movements. You don't directly see him walk, but you see him in every big part of his house. You see his family. You see him walk in the bedroom and probably the living room. Like, he's traveling the house without spending pages showing him walking. And that's a really good tool. You don't have to show every movement. You can just take little shortcuts like these. Don't take too many. Don't cut out, you need all these panels. Don't cut out that one or that one. Or even that one. Don't cut out this whole, 9's a pretty holy number in compositions, I believe. Because you got your beginning, your end, so you need your middle. You need your middle to figure out where it's going. And remember that. That's my opinion. If you can make a 6-panel page really good, by all means. If you can make a 3-page panel look really good, by all means. But that's just one of my opinions. Like, look, we're still another art, but going back to not losing your figure, the grass isn't as detailed because we got him as our focal point. Or the shovel coming in. There is no detail besides some specks of dirt coming off the shovel. That's a good little tad bit that there's dirt coming off the shovel. But no detail beside it. Yeah, no. Kirkman, I might take back that letter. He's a good letterer. I don't know. I don't know what else I'd want though. Maybe no lettering right there. Just have him get hit. But no, he's really good. Tony Moore is really good at emotions, as we see. And yeah, he's real. Making this panel an open panel, like you can see his legs down here, and then adding those. Try that out. Don't, because where are you going to fit that? You would have to kind of squish that into here, and then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 panels on a page. That's going to be pretty hard to do. I guess like you could maybe cut out that, or cut out these 3, but that's like kind out a kid, right? He does, similar, really good talks, really good, talking heads. I guess this page might be one of the weaker pages in my opinion because it's just, exposition and talking heads. And if you do talking heads too much, it gets boring really fast. So study people like the Hernandez brothers and how to make talking heads really good, or read Preacher because they do a good job of not doing talking head syndrome too boring. But no, these 2 pages might be the weakest overall. Except, like I said, he holds a key at the police station. They're not beating the head that they're going there. They're not if this was a Marvel book, they would probably spend a whole issue going to the police station and then probably finding some survivors or something, because Marvel likes to drag on everything. Suck it, Marvel. You heard it here from Paper Cuts Included. Come at me. Please don't. I can't afford that lawsuit. But no. More talking head syndrome. It's good. It's a good read. It's not as fluid as some of the other panels at the beginning. I love that outfit though. I need to do a print of that. Just him in this Tony Moore style. Like, I love Tony Moore's art. It's not my favorite or anything, but he's just a good artist. He's a solid artist, which I don't think he gets a lot of credit. I think a lot of people forget about his contributions to stuff like this. I think anytime you see art, it's like the Negan arc. I read Walking Dead up until probably, I stopped when the last panel was the governor was coming to take the prison on his tank. And I just stopped. I don't know why, but I was just done. Because to me, The Walking Dead, it's a good comic, but it's pretty repetitive. It's, oh, let's move here. Oh, wait, here's some antagonist bad figure we need to fight. Oh, wait, we might have beat that figure, but now our home's gone, so let's travel up the road and find someone else. Oh, wait, let's repeat the cycle. But, it's a good comic. Kudos for Robert Kirkman for making probably one of the, best well-received / collected books of all time. I think the number 1 was one of the highest grossing, like, in the aftermarket. Like, everyone had Walking Dead fever. I grew up in Walking Dead fever. Like, I was in elementary school when season 1 came out. So I remember there was a lot of cons where there were whole booths dedicated to Walking Dead. And still, I would argue that you can't go into any comic book store and find issues under issue 100 or below. So 1 to 100, you can't really find first prints of in stores still. So that's got to be something really cool to think about if you're Kirkman and Moore, that your book is coveted so much. And yeah, let's see, next page. See, now here we go back to that fluidity. And even here, and to the page before, we're going back to that fluidity. It's just, those last 3 or 4 pages were real, I don't know, stagnant in ways. Which, every book's going to have some. I'm not critiquing the utter love and crap out of it. It's hard not to have a comic stagnant. It's really hard, because it happens really fast. But no, I remember this guy being like another deputy. Right? Or is that in the show? Like, I thought, I'm having a Mandela effect where he's having like a heart-to-heart with that Walker, because he used to know him. I don't know. Comment below if I'm mistaken. No, we're going back to that fluidity. Besides this, he's showing him locking it up, which is, I don't know. I feel like he didn't have to add that. Then we go back. He's driving through town, which I guess that answers it. The town does look pretty ravaged, so I guess they might not be able to go back. But yeah, and then like the famous the first Walker he directly kills. Bam. I wish they might not have shown it. I wish it would have been like cut that panel out and leave the rest. Like reorganize that, like resize it so it's just these 4, or maybe just these 3. Don't show the dead Walker at all and just drive away. But no, there's I guess the prompt to review of Walking Dead #1. It's not as eventful as I remember it. I thought he made it to Atlanta in the first issue. In ways, this could have been a one-off series. Like, yeah, of course, there's, President for finding his family, but it's a good comic. Like, it's a good little solo comic, which I think is a test, a little check mark. But no, maybe we'll do more Walking Dead little looks at, maybe just the more stuff. Just look at more and more artwork. But no, I think this was a 2018 print, and at 2018 they had 32 volumes already made. I think I got rid of my first volume of Walking Dead. It did one of those vending libraries for kayfabe Christmas in July, and I regret that now. I don't regret it because it went to the kids, but I regret it because now I want to look at it for the channel. Or maybe I can get one of these omnibooks, not for $100. And then there's some random Clementine story in the back from the Tall Tale games. But no, there's that. Like I've talked about in other videos, if you hadn't know, this is a channel where me and my co-host will look at comic books, comic book art in general. We're all 3 working artists in the field of art, not necessarily comic book art, even though that's our dreams. If you really like this video, can you please like, comment, subscribe? It really helps us out. This summer is going to be really big for us. We're going to try to do at least a video a week, or if I can manage it like this week, 5 videos in 1 week. So stay tuned. Links and stuff will be in the description to what me and my co-host are working on. I'll show a little bit of artwork real quick. This is going in one of the magazines. It's a Ninja Turtle story that I'm working on. It's a watercolor painting because I've always wanted to mess with watercolors. It probably won't turn out that good, but hey, I'm trying some new media. But links to me and my co-host's Instagram will be in the description, along with I think my link tree, which has my TeePublic page, links to our magazine, and other stuff like that. So stay tuned. We're gonna talk the crap out about some books, and I can't wait to talk about some more book art. And I guess I'll send you out some marching orders, and I'm out of here.